Hindi, also called Modern Standard Hindi, is a standardized and Sanskritized register of the Hindustani language. Hindi is the official language of the Union of India. As of 2009, the best figure Ethnologue could find for speakers of actual Hindustani Hindi was 180 million in 1991. In the 2001 Indian census, 258 million people in India reported Hindi to be their native language. However, this number includes tens of millions of people who are native speakers of related languages but who consider their speech to be a dialect of Hindi. Hindi is the fourth most popular language in the world after Mandarin, Spanish and English. Official status. Article 343 of the Indian Constitution states, "The official language of the Union shall be Hindi and Devanagari script. The form of numerals to be used for the official purposes of the Union shall be the international form of Indian numerals." Article 351 of the Indian Constitution states, "It shall be the duty of the Union to promote the spread of the Hindi language, to develop it so that it may serve as a medium of expression for all the elements of the composite culture of India and to secure its enrichment by assimilating without interfering with its genius the forms, style and expressions used in Hindustani and in the other languages of India specified in the 8th schedule, and by drawing, wherever necessary or desirable, for its vocabulary, primarily on Sanskrit and secondarily on other languages. It was envisioned that Hindi would become the sole working language of the Union government by 1965 and Article 351, with state governments being free to function in the language of their own choice. However, widespread resistance to the imposition of Hindi on non-native speakers, especially in South India, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and West Bengal, led to the passage of the Official Languages Act of 1963, which provided for the continued use of English indefinitely for all official purposes. Although the constitutional directive for the Union government to encourage the spread of Hindi was retained and has strongly influenced its policies. At the state level, Hindi is the official language of the following Indian states: Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and Uttarakhand. Each may also designate a co-official language in Uttar Pradesh, for instance, depending on the political formation in power. This language is generally Urdu. Similarly, Hindi is accorded the status of official language in the following Union territories: Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Chandigarh, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu. National Capital Territory. National language status for Hindi is a long-debated theme. An Indian court clarified that Hindi is not the national language of India because the constitution does not mention it as such. Outside Asia, a form of Hindi is an official language in Fiji. However, this is not the same language as the official language of India. The Hindi spoken in Fiji is Fiji Hindi, a form of Awadhi, whereas the modern standard Hindi of India is a form of Hindustani. History. The dialect of Hindustani on which standard Hindi is based is Khari Boli. The vernacular of Delhi and the surrounding western Uttar Pradesh and southern Uttarakhand. Urdu, literally meaning the language of the camp, a dialect of Hindustani, acquired official linguistic prestige in the later Mughal period. In the late 19th century, the movement standardizing a written language from Khari Boli for the Indian masses in North India started to standardize Hindi as a separate language from Urdu, which was learnt by the Mughal elite. In 1881, Bihar accepted Hindi as its sole official language, replacing Urdu, and thus became the first state of India to adopt Hindi. After independence, the Government of India instituted the following conventions. Standardization of Grammar. In 1954, the Government of India set up a committee to prepare a grammar of Hindi. The committee's report was released in 1958 as a basic grammar of modern Hindi. Standardization of the Orthography, using the Devanagari script, by the Central Hindi Directorate of the Ministry of Education and Culture to bring about uniformity in writing, to improve the shape of some Devanagari characters, and introducing diacritics to express sounds from other languages. The Constituent Assembly adopted Hindi as an official language of India on 14 September 1949. Now, it is celebrated as Hindi Day. Comparison with modern Standard Urdu. Linguistically, Hindi and Urdu are the same language. Hindi is written in the Devanagari script and uses more Sanskrit words, whereas Urdu is written in the Perso-Arabic script and uses more Arabic and Persian words. Hindi, along with English, is the most commonly used official language in India. Urdu is the official language of Pakistan, and is one of the 22 official languages of India. Script. Hindi is written in Devanagari script, also called Nagari. Devanagari consists of 11 vowels and 33 consonants and is written from left to right. Sanskrit Vocabulary. Formal Standard Hindi draws much of its academic vocabulary from Sanskrit. Standard Hindi loans words are divided into 5 principal categories. Tatsam words. These are words which are spelled the same in Hindi as in Sanskrit. They include words inherited from Sanskrit via Prakrit which have survived without modification, as well as forms borrowed directly from Sanskrit in more modern times. Pronunciation, however, conforms to Hindi norms and may differ from that of classical Sanskrit. Amongst nouns, the tatsam word could be the Sanskrit non-inflected word stem, or it could be the nominative singular form in a Sanskrit nominal declension. Are tatsam words. Such words have typically undergone sound changes subsequent to being borrowed. Tabva words. These are words that are spelled differently from in Sanskrit but are derivable from a Sanskrit prototype by phonological rules. Deshoj words. These are words that were not borrowings but do not derive from attested Indo-Aryan words either. Belonging to this category are onomatopoetic words. Videshi words. These include all loan words purportedly from sources other than Indo-Aryan. But the most frequent sources identified in this category have been not only Persian and Arabic, but also the Indo-European Portuguese and English. The Hindi standard, from which much of the Persian, Arabic and English vocabulary has been purged and replaced by neologisms compounding tatsam words, is called Shuddha Hindi, and is viewed as a more prestigious dialect over other more colloquial forms of Hindi. Excessive use of tatsam words creates problems for native speakers. They may have Sanskrit consonant clusters which do not exist in native Hindi. The educated middle class of India may be able to pronounce such words, but others have difficulty. Persian and Arabic vocabulary given authentic pronunciations cause similar difficulty. Literature. Hindi literature is broadly divided into 4 prominent forms or styles, being Bhakti, Shringar, Vergatha, and Adhunik. Medieval Hindi literature is marked by the influence of Bhakti movement and the composition of long, epic poems. It was primarily written in other varieties of Hindi, particularly Awadhi and Braj Bhasha, but also in Khari Boli. During the British Raj, Hindustani became the prestige dialect. Hindustani with heavily Sanskritized vocabulary or Sahityak Hindi was popularized by the writings of Swami Dayananda Saraswati, Bhartendu Harish Chandra and others. The rising numbers of newspapers and magazines made Hindustani popular with the educated people. Chandrakanta, written by Devaki Nandan Khatri in 1888, is considered the first authentic work of prose in modern Hindi. The person who brought realism in the Hindi prose literature was Munshi Prem Chand, who is considered as the most revered figure in the world of Hindi fiction and progressive movement. The Dvivedi Yuga in Hindi literature lasted from 1900 to 1918. It is named after Mahavir Prasad Dvivedi, who played a major role in establishing the modern Hindi language and poetry and broadening the acceptable subjects of Hindi poetry from the traditional ones of religion and romantic love. In the 20th century, Hindi literature saw a romantic upsurge. This is known as Chayavad, and the literary figures belonging to this school are known as Chayavadi. Jai Shankar Prasad, Suryakant Tripathi, Nirala, Mahadevi Varma and Sumitra Nandan Pant are the four major Chayavadi poets. Uttaradhanik is the postmodernist period of Hindi literature, marked by a questioning of early trends that copied the West as well as the excessive ornamentation of the Chayavadi movement, and by a return to simple language and natural themes. Sample text. The following is a sample text in High Hindi, of the Article 1 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Hindi 1. Transliteration Anucht 1. Sabha Manasio ko Gaurav aur adhikaro ke vishay mein mujit. Svatantrata aur samanta prapt hai. Unha buddha aur antaratmaki den prapt hai aur paraspar unha baicha ke bha vishay bhatav kana kahi. Transcription NTEDEK, Sabai Menjoko Revared Karo Ke Mara Meli Medi and Meditisvetent Reta Semerenti APRAPTH, NEBDRNTIRA Marki DENPRAPTH Parespera NEBAIT Ke Vishay Berta V Kern TAHE. Gloss Article 1. All human beings to dignity and rights matter in from birth freedom and equality acquired is them to reason and conscience is endowment acquired is and always them to brotherhood spirit with behavior to do should. Translation Article 1. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood.